But the good news for the audience tonight is that tonight my feet will be hot.
So wait, it sounds to me like we can return the joy to your name because you got hot feet.
I got hot feet.
Because you need to be grateful for the hot feet.
You know what? I'm grateful for my hot feet.
Hey everybody, welcome to Read This, Read That. I am Jackie Reed.
What was my name? What did Ego Nwodim rename me? There is no joy, Reed.
Yeah, just call me Ann Reed.
Oh, Ann. My name is Ann Reed. I'm just Ann Reed. By the way, Ego looked amazing at the Met Gala last night. I'm Ann Reed. Because the joy is gone.
Joy is not gone. Joy is there. It's right with, like they used to say on Romper Room, I see joy. Did you all have Romper Room in Colorado?
I remember the name, but I don't remember watching it. I don't think I watched that.
Oh, we'll get into why I'm talking about.
I watched Zoom. I watched Sesame Street. Yeah, Sesame Street.
Company.
Electric Company. That's where we first saw Morgan Freeman.
Yes. And Rita Moreno was on.
Rita Moreno, absolutely. Yeah. So I watched all the classics. And as a matter of fact, the first place we saw Luther Vandross, can you tell me where that is? His first public appearance.
Oh, wait. I know this. Wait.
Tick, 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 tick. We need a ding. We need a ding.
Ding!
Ding! Sesame Street. He was a background player on Sesame Street. He was just one of the singers in a group of singers who sang with the Muppets.
Oh, I love
his
that.
First big TV appearance, Sesame Street.
So Luther many stars have flowed through Sesame Street over the years, and now we'll talk about that in a minute. First, we're going to wind down and start off with just how our week has been going. Our weeks have been going. Joyanne, I will start with you. Girl, how's your week been? How are you doing, girl? Let's do a wellness check. How's my schedule working for you? Following it to the letter?
It's been a little crazy. It's been a little hectic.
Yes.
But I did accomplish something that I think is actually really important because, you know, one of the most important things for wellness, if we're talking wellness, is sleep. And I have been on a mission. It has taken 2 weeks and 2 appointments, but I have finally gotten the feet heat in my Sleep Number bed to work.
The what?
The heater. So we have this like very elaborate mattress in our primary bedroom. And it does all kinds of things. It can raise each person's head up. Oh, yeah. It can raise your legs up. It can put them both at the same, or it can make them different. It's like an old people bed, but not for old people. You know what I mean? Because you can do all these things with it. It can cool you, or it has like it has a thing where it's like you can be laying on a cloud and make yourself be in cloud mode, like you're laying in the air. It can do this like responsive air, so when you roll, it like changes the nature of the mattress. It's supposed to like be comfortable. To be honest with you, it's really not that comfortable. Okay, it's really not that helpful. I still wake up with back pain.
The mattress itself is not, is it too firm, too soft? What do you mean?
You can set it, right? So I have it set to 100 because I really hate a soft mattress. Like I really like a mattress that's more firm. So I have it set to the firmest setting, but I still wake up with aches and pains. I think it's more perimenopause than it is the bed, to be honest, but it's not super comfortable. But the one thing I loved about this bed, the one thing that was very great about the bed, because I'm always cold, right? My hands and feet, my extremities are always cold. I'm like a generally cold, natured person, right?
You're anemic, right?
I'm a little anemic, right? So my hands and feet are always cold. So the thing had this great thing in it where you could push a button on the app and heat up your feet. So at night, I would sleep with hot feet, like my feet being really warm. So when my feet are warm, I don't feel cold because I got the feet heat on. Girl, the feet heat broke. I was like pushing the button and it's not coming on. And then it was giving me this message saying I needed to call the company to come and fix it. I'm like, this is insane. Well, first of all, we had the bed. It's a little past the warranty. We've had it for a few years, but who knew that just everything else on the bed worked? It's just except that. So we had the guys come by last week. They changed out, and for a while, Jason's side of the feet heat wasn't working. Not that I didn't care, but my side worked. So I'm like, my side was working. So, it wasn't like urgent until my side.
He could just stick his side. He could be on his side, just put his feet on your side.
Move on over and stick his feet on my side. So it wasn't urgent because at least somebody had feet heat. He could just slide on over to my side. Girl, when my feet heat went, this is unacceptable because I'm a left sleeper. So if I'm a left shoulder sleeper, so I turn this way. So it's easier for him to slide his feet to my side than me to slide my feet to his side because I sleep on the other side. So this was a crisis. So this began this journey of, with all the other things I have to do, getting the technicians to come in and fix the feet heat. Well, they came in last week. They changed out both mechanisms because this company does give you like forever service, right? They'll come by even many years later and do the service, and they don't really charge you a lot. They come in, they literally changed both things. His side, which didn't work before, now worked fine. Guess whose side was still broken?
Yours.
So in addition to having insomnia, which I still have, having to take all kind of CBD gummies and melatonin combinations and come up with all this like mocha jumby to try to get to sleep every night. Now I don't have a feet heat, which was the one thing that was really great about sleeping in that bed. Baby, this morning, on this day, today, what's today's date? May 6th, 2025.
The year of our Lord and Savior.
The year of our Lord and Savior. The men came back from the bed company and fixed the feet heat. So now both sides have feet heat. But here is the codicil to the story. This is why, see, God always says, I'm going to work in mysterious ways. I'm going to fix your feet heat. But when he left, the man in the truck hit he hit the thing outside the house.
What
So
thing?
now we have to fix. We have like a little thing outside the house, and so it kind of got hit. So now it has to be fixed. But the guy was very nice.
What is it? A little gnome or a little jockey, a little white jockey holding a like? What is it? What did he hit?
I should get a little jockey. It's just a little. We have these little, posts when you drive in the house, and he bumped it. So it's a minor inconvenience compared to not having hot feet. Now, when I sleep tonight, when I put my head to pillow tonight on my newfangled, supposedly like scientific freaking pillows, which also don't necessarily help, but I have all the kinds, right? But I have every contraption possible to try to sleep. It's literally a science experiment every night. Well, really every morning, because I kind of go to sleep at like midnight. But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, so, I do.
But the good news for the audience tonight is that tonight my feet will be hot.
So wait, it sounds to me like we can return the joy to your name because you got hot feet.
I got hot feet.
Because you need to be grateful for the hot feet.
You know what? I'm grateful for my hot feet. I said, you know what, Jesus? God, life is challenging. My schedule is challenging.
By choice.
By choice, but my schedule is challenging.
Self-inflicted, so we can roll over that.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But when I lay my head on my newfangled mocha jumby pillows tonight and take all of the various contraptions and
the gummies
and assorted things that I pour into my system to try to force my brain to turn off, one thing is going to be in great working order, and that's going to be my feet heat. My feet will have heat. That is my wind down.
Come on for hot feet, warm feet. Come on, choir. Hot feet.
Hot feet.
Hot feet.
Hot feet.
Hot feet.
Hot feet. Hot feet. Hot feet. Oh Lord, hot feet day. Hot feet, hallelujah.
In the morning,
hot
because
feet.
she had hot feet.
Hot feet. In the evening, hot feet. Hot feet. Hot sweet. Hallelujah.
Boom, 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 boom. Happy girl. I know.
You
Punch
know,
drunk. I
we
know
got
we're
it.
not even drinking liquor today. What
That's
are you? Oh, you got sparkling water?
I am drinking, and now this is really special. Wegmans generic Wegmans brand mixed berry sparkling water. But let me tell you something. Because first of all, Wegmans is standing by DEI, so I'm proud of drinking my Wegmans.
As you should be. Listen,
I'm proud.
Wegmans is not the Piggly Wiggly. So, no shade to Piggly or Wiggly, but
No, I'm proud of it. It's delicious.
yeah, Wegmans is a great grocery store. Okay, so let me jump into my wind down, which I'm very excited to share. I rescued another dog this week. I did not take it into my home completely, but it's an interesting story. But it's a long story, so I'll go through it quickly. So there was this dog running through our neighborhood, and a lot of my neighbors were upset. Even when I was walking my dog Bernie, who's a big dog, but I rescued him a year ago, so he's still a little nervous about seeing other dogs and people. He barks, he pulls. He gets a little aggressive. He's a sweet dog with my dogs in the house, but outside, people, cars, animals, it's just not good for him. So when I would see this dog off the leash, which is really unusual for our neighborhood, I would have to turn around and go the other way. But I could tell that the dog was friendly, but it's a pit mix. So a lot of people see a pit and they think aggressive. They just have such a bad rap, these dogs. But this dog was so sweet. You could see him like wiggling his little tail and trying to be friends. And I did go out there and I put my dog up, went back out there, sat on the curb, but he would run away from me. So I couldn't catch him. And I had heard from my neighbors that they had called the county on him once. They picked him up. The owners went and got him, and took him home. And the situation was he kept getting loose because he was tied up to a tree in the backyard. I know. And I know it is unfortunate, but I try to give the family grace because the dog's owner, who was a young adult man, was, died 2 months ago. And so his mother, was really grieving and really trying to deal with a lot. And she didn't know what to do with this dog. And his birthday was this week. And so she had a lot going on.
That's a lot.
So it was overwhelming. And then you got all these neighbors calling you. And when you're not a dog person, you don't know what to do. And the dog wasn't allowed inside the house because it wasn't her house. It was her mom's house and the mom did. So it was a lot. And so I texted her because my neighbors were like, we already called Pound. This dog's got to go. And if they pick a dog up more than once, I think they euthanize it. Yeah, it's curtains. So me, I was like, okay, let me see if I can. I told everybody, I was like,
Dr. Doolittle to the rescue.
Give me a minute. So I texted the lady. I said, listen, I know you're going through a lot. I said, but I would love to help you rehome this dog, or let me come over and take a look at what's going on in the backyard. And maybe we can figure out how to keep him from getting loose. So I sent that to her, no response. The next morning, she was like, thank you so much for reaching out. I would love it if you could help me find him a new home. I was like, baby, let's do it. I said, meanwhile, let me come over, meet him, let me walk him and all that kind of stuff, because nobody was walking him or anything. So I went over there and took him on a walk. He was the sweetest dog. And he just, it just wasn't a great situation for him.
Right.
And so I started reaching out, letting people know. I posted it on my social media. I'm like, look at this baby. I chose a really cute song. This Will Be an Everlasting Love by Natalie Cole. I was like, come on, y'all, fall in love with this dog. I was calling everybody. I called you early in the morning.
You did.
Cross's information.
I already knew you were right away.
But you were on the list. I do have to let you know. When I tell you, I was calling a lot of people. I had one man who was like, I'll take him. I was like, DM me. My cousin wanted to take them. People were starting because I started this on a Thursday, and by Sunday, he was in a new home.
Oh, wow.
So I met him on a Thursday. I started walking him twice a day. And by Friday, it was storming here in Atlanta. And I said, you know what? Let me just bring this baby, because they wouldn't bring him inside. So I was like, let me bring him to my house, put him in the bathroom, because it's not going to go well with my dogs.
Right.
So I put him in the bathroom, didn't make a peep. He went to sleep,
Aww.
knocked out. Walked him the next day. A man was supposed to meet me that was interested. He was a no-show, you know. So I talked to Tiffany Cross, and I don't want to give
the
details.
other Dr. Doolittle, by the way.
The other doctor, listen, we were like, we bonded over this dog, our love of animals. Like, we are forever like sister friends over this situation. So I don't want to say who I gave the dog to or where. I'm gonna let them reveal that on their own. But Tiffany was very instrumental. She was like, listen, let's make a list. She was like, this person, you were on the list. You were low on the list, but we were gonna hit you up. And it was like, she was funny. She was like, you call first, and then I'll come in second. And we had people. But this place, she happened to be coming. I called her. When I called you early in the morning and woke you up. I was like, girl, I got to get Tiffany's number. I called her right away. She was at the airport traveling to stay with this family. And she was like, they need another dog. I know they do. And she was like, I'm going to talk to them and see. By the time she landed, she texted me. She said, they want him. I was like, perfect. But I couldn't take him until Sunday. And I didn't know. And I told him, I said, if it doesn't work out, I'll come back and get him on Monday. Right. So today is Tuesday as we're recording this. Girl, I drove out there to their home.
Like a 2-hour drive, by the way.
2-hour drive from me. Yeah. It was 2 hours with traffic on a Sunday. Mm-hmm. But baby, this dog couldn't even get out. Tiffany came to the car and got him out the back seat before I couldn't even park good. And their dog, they have another dog who's the exact same age. They were born the same month.
Oh, wow.
And they got their other dog a year to the day that I was bringing this dog.
Wow.
So it was just all meant to be. Those dogs, once the dog that I brought got out of the car, they started playing. His name was Munchie, but they changed it to another name. But once I got Munchie out the car, those two dogs were playing and just in the house, out the house, you know, knocking over water dishes, just playing, tussling, humping on each other. They're both boys. It was amazing to see. And this family, when I went on a tour of their home, when I see people with multiple dog beds, including in their bedroom, you're my people. The dogs are pack animals, right? They want to be near you. And so, you know, they don't have to be on your bed. They can be, but they don't have to be, but they do usually need to be in your room. But that's neither here nor there. So I saw the dog beds. I was like, and Munchie had never done stairs before. And, you know, we were all upstairs, and the man of the house carried him upstairs. And then when it was time to go down, we all went down. He couldn't go. He didn't know what to do. Their dog came up, got him, and showed him how to walk. And he followed him down the stairs. It was, oh my God, it was so meant to be. So I'm going to.
The dog wanted to be a big brother. He's excited.
Girl, let me tell you, my heart was so full. Tiffany and I, we were just like texting each other, and because she stayed there after I left. She stayed another night there because she was there for the weekend, and she was sending me videos and pictures. And the man in the house was on the floor with Munchie, and he had all these toys and a dog bed. And so, girl, it was so heartwarming. And I'm gonna, should put up a picture here of the two dogs together because they are like BFFs.
I love it.
BFFs, girl. I said, this is my calling. This is my calling, girl.
It truly is. No, I mean, it is your calling. Honestly, I think you literally could have like a whole 501c3 that's just dog rescue because you really do love animals, and it's
and cats.
And cat. Oh, yeah, you have to do that. Yeah. She gonna rescue every cat and dog in America by herself.
Girl. Listen, I'll do all animals,
and
all
every
creatures.
Fish, bird,
frog,
chicken, turkey, they're all getting rescued.
All of them.
All of them.
All of them. But girl, Munchie has a new name now. They renamed him immediately. And I texted them this morning because I was like, I wanted to give y'all a little space to make sure. Because I was like, please don't call me and say it's not working. But they bathed that dog right away and took him in. And that night he slept in their room with the other dog. And girl, he'll never sleep alone again. I'm tearing up.
That is so sweet. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love
Girl.
it.
So
Love
yes,
it.
Munchie, the dog formerly known as Munchie,
Yes.
now has a new family. So
Oh, that good wind down. Well done. Well done, Jackie Reed. Well done.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy.
So happy. Well, and so is Munchie.
So is Munchie, girl.
So what are you drinking, by the way? Because I told you what I was drinking. What are you drinking? I'm having my mixed
Girl,
berry
this looks
sparkling.
like I put too much palm juice in here. It's supposed to be palm and sparkling water, but I put too much and it's way too sweet. But you know, it's a little
I know how it is. I know how it is. You know what? Sparkling water is what I started drinking to get off soda. That's how I finally got myself unaddicted to Coca-Cola. I still drink Dr. Pepper every so often, but sparkling water really did help me get away from soda because it gives you the fizz and the flavor, just not the sugar.
And you can add whatever you want.
You can
do fresh squeezed, juice and different things. I mean, this is that palm juice.
Yeah.
Which I love. But you can do all kinds of things and put it in
cranberry juice. I sometimes put a little cherry, little cherry brandy if you want it to have a little kick. So yeah, it's a good thing.
No, it is a great thing. So yeah, girl, that is my wind down. I did a good thing and I feel so good about it. I mean, girl, I'm telling you, I'm so happy.
That's almost as great as feet heat.
Listen, I don't know. Feet heat
is pretty damn great.
That's pretty damn great for an insomniac because I want you to go to a sleep clinic. Have you ever been?
I don't have the time.
What? What'd you just say to me? I'm sorry. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. What did you just say to me?
Oh, damn, I better get ass whooped. Damn it. Now I got to get an ass whooping.
What'd you say? I got my eye twitching. What? What? You don't have time.
Eye twitch. Not the eye twitch. Not the eye twitch. Ooh, Lord.
Oh my God.
By the way, speaking of not having a lot of time, I will see you all this weekend in New Orleans, Louisiana for the State of the People Power Tour. If you're going to be in New Orleans, you can catch me because guess what? I don't have time, but I make time to do all the things. I will be there. I'm going to be there. Gary Chambers Jr. will be there as well. Angela Rye will be there as well. It's going to be great. Pastor Mike, you name it. We're going to be there. Oh, actually, Jasmine Crockett will also be there.
Ooh.
So it should be pretty hot.
That's going to be nice. And it was nice of Kamala Harris in the speech that she gave last week, because we haven't talked about that, to mention State of the People tour.
She shouted out the State of the People Power Tour when she gave her first big speech, which people are calling a precursor to her maybe running for governor of California. She's sort of getting out there a little bit. So hopefully, I am attempting to get an interview with the great VP myself. So fingers crossed that she will come on the new show that Jason and I are working on. So hopefully that will happen.
We're love hoping. That as a
fingers crossed.
Interview. Yep. That would be a great first interview for the Joy Reid show.
I think so. I think so.
I hope she seriously considers it. And it's great because now she's out and doing things. I mean, she
was at the Met Gala. She went her first
at the Met Gala
was this week, last night. So yes, she's doing the things.
So
I want to go to the Met Gala. Have you ever been?
I have never been.
I've never been.
Yeah, I think that I wish I would. I thought about you as I was watching the red carpet last night, and I was like, now see, these are the things that Joyanne Reed should be making time to go to. Not every other thing that on the planet that pops up. You're like, wait, my baby's having a barbecue. My baby's having a barbecue with her Girl Scout troop. I'll be there.
I know. Can you come to my bar mitzvah? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Have we ever met? No, but I'll be there.
But I'll be there, and I'll bring deviled eggs that I'm gonna make from scratch.
Even though I don't like to cook.
Right. I'll be everywhere. No, but yes, I'm glad you brought up the State of the People tour, because that is great work that is being done. And Read That is a media partner with the State of the People tour. And I just want to mention that, it's coming to a city near you if it already has not. And then it will end in LA, Joyanne.
It will end in
And
Los
then
Angeles.
there's another date after that
That's
that'll
right.
celebrate Juneteenth.
There's a Juneteenth sort of power convening that's going to collect all the data that's come out. I didn't make it to Birmingham because I had some family stuff come up, but the Birmingham stop apparently was really powerful. There's a lot of video that's also on my social. If you go on Joy and read my Instagram, there's a piece from a young man who spoke at the Birmingham town hall very emotionally about what he's been through in terms of being through the criminal justice system and dealing with economic stress and all the things, like really powerful. So people are really coming to these tour stops and really telling their personal stories, and really just engaging with people who just want to hear what they have to say, which is a good thing.
I love that. It's a great thing. I'm so glad that it's happening, and I'm excited to see that at the end of all of this, what our marching orders will be. It's nice to have this kind of leadership, grassroots kind of leadership happening from the people, by the people, for the people,
and from the local organizers, because it really is the local organizers who are doing it. So this is going to be New Orleans. Coming up next is Newark, New Jersey. There's also a Virginia stop that's coming up after that. And there's still, a bunch of other stops after that. So we'll just keep you posted. And you can just go online and you can go to stateoftheppl.com. You can register for your city. Detroit's coming up. There's 12 different cities. So just look on the stateoftheppl.com website and you'll see if your city is still coming up, and you can register. You have to register in order to turn up. We don't want people just showing up and randos and randeasleys showing up. So we're trying to make sure it's real Black people who really exist.
That's important. Girl, I'm thinking about pot liquor as I drink this. It's so dark.
Oh,
I know. Okay, moving on. My brain. We do want to talk about something that a lot of the folks who make up the State of the People tour are very concerned about. And that is this. I don't know whether you tell me, is it accurate to call what Trump is doing, wants to do, this executive order that he signed when it comes to military and kind of reorganizing the way that local police work? Is it fair to call it a police state or martial law? When I think of that, I think of, in those movies, right before, like when the zombie apocalypse is happening and the military rolls in and there's a curfew and you can't move about. And it really is, the military's law or rules are what is applied here. So local law enforcement, local government have no jurisdiction once this is in place. Are we there yet with this? Well, are we going to see tanks rolling down, like military marching into town? Yeah, I'm exaggerating, but do you know what I mean?
You might not be exaggerating, right? So this is, of course, the place where we call it shit you need to know. So here's what you need to know about this executive order. This is a latest executive order. Donald Trump has done a bunch of them. On April 28th, he did an executive order entitled Strengthening and Unleashing America's Law Enforcement to Pursue Criminals and Protect Innocent Citizens. The executive order directs federal resources to promote aggressive policing tactics and further militarize local law enforcement agencies. It provides greater protections for law enforcement officers accused of misconduct, and it wields threats of possible federal prosecutions for certain activities, including certain diversity, equity, and inclusion institutions. So one of the things that it does is it's going to make police more aggressive, because essentially what Donald Trump is saying is he's saying we're going to send even more military equipment to local police. Now, we know that already started during the George W. Bush administration, unfortunately continued under Obama. Obama scaled it back before he left office. But your local police has tanks. Like, why do they have tanks? They have like surface to air missiles damn near, right? This excess military equipment has been sold to local police since the 9/11 attacks, as if somewhere in Wyoming got a disproportionate share of it. They've got like all these tanks and stuff. Like, why do local cops in Wyoming, out there in the wilderness? Yeah, they're out there in the
But you know
desert.
what? You know what I feel? You know who I feel is going to suffer the most under this, and that is peaceful protesters.
Oh, 1,000%.
Right?
Yes, that is, and the big threat that the LDF, the Legal Defense Fund, and others, the ACLU and others are concerned about, is that in two ways it could cause more harm to people who peacefully protest. They're essentially threatening to, if states want military assistance to put down protests, they can call for the National Guard to come. Now, that's already the law. But this executive order essentially encourages, particularly red states, to call for military assistance to stop or put down protests. It also immunizes police, essentially saying, don't worry, the DOJ under Trump will never prosecute cops for hurting or killing civilians. They're actually pulling back on some of the agreements. The Department of Justice goes into these consent decrees with police departments that have a history of abusing people, history of excessive force. They're essentially wiping out those consent decrees that were made under Obama or under President Biden, and even maybe some even older ones, and saying, we're no longer going to enforce those consent decrees. Do whatever you want. If cops kill somebody or hurt somebody, you don't have to worry about the feds coming after y'all. We got you. So essentially, the next Derek Chauvin doesn't have to worry about getting prosecuted, not by these people. And there's a fear that they're going to release Derek Chauvin, at least from his federal charges. He's still got 22 years or something to spend in state prison sentence charges, but they could relieve him of his federal charges. The other thing that they're going to do is they're going to wield the threat of prosecuting people for, quote, willfully or unlawfully direct the obstruction of criminal law, including by directly or unlawfully prohibiting law enforcement officers from carrying out duties necessary for public safety and law enforcement, or who, quote unquote, unlawfully engage in discrimination or civil rights violations under the guise of diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives that restrict law enforcement activity or endanger citizens. In regular people terms, that means they're talking about maybe prosecuting people for doing things like filming law enforcement, for doing things like reporting on their activities, for doing things like warning undocumented immigrants about when an ICE raid is coming. They're threatening to prosecute local officials, including mayors, maybe governors. They're wielding this threat that they're going to prosecute anyone, radio station people who say, hey, there's a raid coming, warning people in advance. They've already in one state arrested a judge claiming she helped try to warn an undocumented person that they were going to come and get them. And then the second piece of it is this DEI thing. Nobody really knows what that means. What do they consider illegal DEI? Does that mean if a police department has a program to try to hire more Black people because they police a lot of Black people, or hire more brown people or people who speak Spanish in a predominantly Spanish-speaking district? Yeah, it sounds like they're going to
train police officers how to conduct themselves, when it comes to, policing a Black community or arresting, someone Black or brown, having certain sensitivities and being aware.
All that's gone.
Yeah.
They won't be able to do it because at minimum, it won't be funded, because a lot of police departments get grants from the Department of Justice over the, this is going back to even the Bush era. They get these big grants, and they would use the grants increasingly, especially since Obama, to try to train police to have sensitivity toward communities of color or toward disabled people. A lot of people who end up getting killed by police are disabled or having some sort of disability.
Mental health crisis. Yeah.
Correct. And now all of that training is essentially, according to this administration, illegal.
Yeah. It is something that we definitely need to be talking about amongst ourselves.
Yes. It's not martial law, though. Technically, it's not martial law.
It's not. But people are kind of saying that's the next step.
They're calling it martial law. And very quickly, I know we got the ding, but it's not martial law because they have not. Martial law means when the federal government triggers martial law by saying that they're suspending local and state law enforcement activities and replacing them with the military because of a national security emergency. Here's the threat. If there are major protests, there already have been protests all over the country, but let's say Black people start participating in them. Black people start showing up at these big protests, and they start looking like the Black Lives Matter protests that were multiracial. Right now, they're almost entirely white people. So there's less of a threat. Yeah. Let us start showing up. And then Trump declares the Insurrection Act, says that these protests are an insurrection against the government. Then this EO could lead to martial law. So it's not martial law now, but it certainly could get us there.
Yeah. And let's not wait until it gets us there to raise our voices about it. But I do want to say to Black people, be careful. If you're out there, there's a big march going on protest planned for across the country on June 14th when Trump is planning for his birthday this big military
$92 million military
parade
parade.
and everything,
92
spending
million
millions of our money,
of
right?
our money.
Taxpayer dollars on some stupid military parade because, he part of the dictator playbook, But I just feel like Black people need to be careful participating because we're going to be the first ones to be up under the jail and then shipped to El Salvador
That's right.
or Rwanda or some of these other places that he's making deals with to, lock up people who don't get due process, but he feels like, they've got tattoos on their hands that say that they're, part of a gang or something. I mean,
And
it really is crazy.
It's really crazy. And shame
Yeah.
on Rwanda, by the way. Rwanda, which had been getting a lot of kudos from a lot of friends of mine that visit there a lot because it's supposed to be clean and beautiful. They've recovered, but their history was ugly. Remember in the 90s, that's where the Hutu and the Tutsi slaughtered each other.
Yeah.
And there's a sort of dictator in place. He sort of considers himself sort of a benign dictator that's in place in Rwanda. And they are talking to this administration about taking deported people. Well, taking deported people from Rwanda? Because there ain't that many Rwandan migrants here. So who are you taking? They've already cut a deal to pay El Salvador to take migrants and put them in their prisons. Is Rwanda going to do that? Are they literally going to start? Is Rwanda an African country, a country in sub-Saharan Africa? Are they about to participate in that crap? Because that's not cool.
Yeah, they're talking about it.
Africa, don't do it. All these Caribbean nations said no. Barbados said hell no. All these Caribbean countries have said don't try to send the people here. Costa Rica said no. Don't have the global South get in bed with this dictator. Please don't do that, Rwanda. I'm really hoping you are not really going to do that.
These are such scary times, and I hope people really are paying attention. I mean, I know a lot of people, it can be overwhelming to watch the news and keep up, but you do need to, hey, tune into us. We'll let you know shit you need to know, at least, somewhat. And then Joyanne Substack, my Substack, when I write it, girl, I'm so off with my Substack. I got to get back to it.
You see why I was late today? Because I was like, I got to knock this Substack out.
Girl, listen, I gave myself a break between the cats and the dogs. I was like, listen, I'm going to get my 8 hours.
Yeah.
I'm going to get my 8 hours sleep. We ain't pulling no all-nighters no more. I am not in college. I'm not doing it. I'm going to sleep. Okay, so those are all of our shit you need to know topics. Let's move on to our let's talk topics. And we talked about the Met Gala a little bit there. So let's talk about it because, oh my God, what a red carpet. I don't know. I had my mom watch it last night and it was her first time watching a Met Gala red carpet. For first Monday in May, there's a documentary about it. You should definitely see it. But this was the first time that all of the co-chairs were Black men. I don't know if there's ever been a situation where all of the co-chairs were Black women. I'm not sure about that, but this was a way to celebrate Andre Leon Talley. Anna Wintour wanted to do that. And so she pulled together Coleman Domingo, who, how do you not love this man, right? Yeah. As a co-chair, Pharrell, who is now the head of Louis Vuitton, right? Lewis Hamilton, who is a race car driver and a vegan. A$AP Rocky, Rihanna's man, who, walked the carpet by himself. Rihanna always is the last person on the carpet. She showed up very pregnant with baby number 3. Very excited about that. LeBron James, also a co-chair, could not come because he hurt himself, but his wife walked the red carpet, looked amazing. I want to let people know that even though, I've never been to the Met Gala, it's hard to get a ticket for this thing. And the red carpet is all we see, but it's a big dinner and celebration and all kinds of things. And it is the opening of an art exhibit at the Met in New York that is that's what the theme of the Met Gala is, based on the art exhibit. And I want to pull up, so they were celebrating Black dandyism, but I want to bring up exactly what it is. Because that red carpet, did you get to see any of the fashion? I mean, Diana Ross walked for the first time.
Yes.
That red carpet. It's 22 years since she's been there.
Wow.
Whoopi Goldberg was there. And it was like, it celebrated Black fashion,
Black dandyism, specifically.
Dandyism, but also tailoring, exquisite
Yes.
tailoring.
And
So the
Black
thing with
designers.
the thing with the Met Gala is sometimes there's a few themes. So it gives you the opportunity, if you don't want to fit the main theme, that you can still show up in something that's on theme. I watched E last night, and it was, girl, that red carpet was amazing. I mean, Sierra, what's her name? Zendaya. It was probably the blackest Met Gala ever.
Yeah.
And people really showed up. So yeah, I'm trying to
It was
find.
it was gorgeous. I have to say my 2 favorite looks on the night, and there were a
Oh,
lot of fabulous looks,
oh,
even though I thought not enough people were over the top. One of the great things about the Met Gala is people go way, like, over the top. Like, Andre 3000, I think, hit the mark with wearing an actual piano on his back, which was really
and
dope.
and
It
Janelle
was really
Monáe
and Janelle Monáe was
nailed
stunning.
it.
Like, Janelle
Yeah.
Monáe was flawless. My favorite looks, though, were Whoopi Goldberg, who I love the fact that she leaned into the black dandy theme with the side hat, the hat to the side. Her whole look was right on theme. And she's not somebody that's necessarily known for fashion, but she showed up and she did her thing. But my favorite, my absolute
Mhm.
favorite look, Jodie Turner Smith. Baby, when I tell you
Ooh,
that British woman walked into that blue carpet, and she slayed.
yeah,
Fabulous. Oh, fabulous. I thought Lala Anthony nailed it. She had a
yeah,
fabulous thing. They had like a little
true.
red do-rag with it. She was one of the co-hosts for the Vogue, sort of,
Coverage,
their version
more
of the
coverage
green
of
red
it.
carpet
Yeah.
was fabulous. And Ego Wodum, who was also fabulous in her like really
She,
cool, sort of zoot suit, almost like very 20s
yeah,
black sort of
yeah,
a
yeah.
send up. I thought she looked amazing. I love the people who were on the theme, and there were a lot of men who were fabulous, who really came out, and I thought ASAP Rocky looked great. I think that some of them were very understated. Pharrell, to me, was very just sort of in regular Gucci. Like, to me, he wasn't really going all out,
Well,
but
he
he
was in
always
Louis
is
Vuitton,
elegant.
not Gucci.
I'm sorry, he was Louis Vuitton. Sorry, ooh, let me not say Gucci.
Girl,
Louis Vuitton, baby. And so was Doechii. Doechii was in the crew of them that were all in Louis Vuitton. So
I
fabulous.
love Dochi's look. She can do it, but Lauren Hill, my
Oh, baby,
God,
with the man
in
with the
the yellow
umbrella.
and that
I wanted to throw a
afro,
woo, he had a
girl, Lauren Hill to me, just,
stunning. And
just
she shut the carpet down, y'all.
stunning.
When she walked down the carpet, nobody at first, I think, realized that was Lauren Hill. And when
Yeah,
people realized it was Lauren Hill, people went crazy. She had a man walking with her who had sort of an African gear. Because, the dandy look also exists in Africa, particularly in my father's country, the Congo. They have a dandy tradition that also rose in the 20s. Both of these looks became popular in the 1920s, and it was
yeah,
a form of resistance. Black people are known to be dressy. You live in Atlanta, which is the capital of black dressiness. But Southern
it
Blacks
is.
are very dressy for a reason, because after enslavement, the stereotype of Black people is that Black people were dirty and unkempt, that they just wore rags, and all they were seen as was servants. But in their off time, Black people, when they were going to church, when they were going into any parties, when they were going, would dress
Mhm.
way up. And when they got to the 20th century, and Black people were especially starting to go north or have family north and have a little bit more money, even when they didn't have a lot, even if people were dirt poor and were sharecropping by day, baby, when they were trying to go out, Black people were the dressiest people on earth. In fact, it is Black women who created what became the flapper trend, the
Mm.
really skinny, skinny dresses with the really long and, sometimes sleeveless and stuff that you weren't supposed to do, and fabulous hats to the side.
Think
Black
Josephine
people,
Baker.
huh?
I said, think
Josephine
Josephine
Baker.
Baker, right?
And
Well,
so,
here's the thing, though.
we're
It was
style icons. It's what we do.
this this was the thing that we could control. There were so many things
Yeah.
during that time that we couldn't control, but we could control our fashion. But let me just talk about the theme, because I want to be
Yeah.
specific about this. So the Met Gala theme was super fine tailoring Black style, with the
Yeah.
dress code of tailored to you. So this year's event marked the first time in over 2 decades that the Met Gala focused exclusively on menswear. The theme and the dress code were inspired by the Monica L. Miller book, Slaves to Fashion, which explores the Black dandy and the importance of tailoring to Black identity. So the exhibit that you will see in the Met Gala is based on this book.
Yeah.
So that's where but you see what I'm saying? There's a lot of themes in there. Dandyism was a big part of it, but so is tailoring. So you
Yes.
saw people showed up. You saw people like Madonna show up So that's why you saw it in this exquisitely tailored outfit. You know, she had a cigar because it did kind of celebrate that look of men's
Yes,
fashion.
menswear.
So
Right.
many,
So
but
even the women's dresses had a menswear theme to them, and it was
yes,
like an old school
girl,
Harlem Renaissance menswear.
did you see Kiki Palmer?
I thought Keke Palmer looked great. I thought she looked
Baby,
great.
with that hair. I love this new hair color, but she was flawless because I love that a lot of people didn't like her. I love when people kind of um take down their eyebrows and make them almost a little bare. And so you really, you know, there is not a lot of makeup.
Which is a
It's really
20s
kind of
look,
a
by the
bare
way.
look. Yeah.
That
And
is a
so you focus on the
1920s look.
clothing,
Yeah.
right? As opposed to the makeup and all those things. She looked amazing. Like there were so many looks. I'm looking at her right now. Angela Bassett looked incredible. So many great looks.
And by the way, not only did the Met Gala stun us with fabulous blackness, it raised a record $31 million. The $31 million goes toward fashion education and also toward preservation. It is the biggest gross in the event's 77-year history. So this was the so let that be a lesson to the anti-DEI folks.
Come
The
on.
DEI Met Gala, it was the highest grossing, most and I believe most watched Met Gala in history.
But let me talk about a little controversy that happened there real quick. I know we got the ding, but I want to talk about this because there was an actress, a white from the show The White Lotus, who
Yes.
showed up reportedly with underwear that had Rosa Parks' face on her
What?
underwear. And girl, people are like, "Are you kidding me?" Yeah. So it is, girl, K-pop star Lalisa Manoble, if I'm saying that right, who goes by the name Lisa, caused quite a stir with her ensemble. So she had bedazzled black blazer, patterned tights, stilettos, and a bodysuit with underwear peeking out at the bottom. And the look was designed by Louis Vuitton. Hello, Pharrell, because people are saying, did he know about this? And reportedly, the underwear had embroidery, I don't know, with Rosa Parks' face on it. So here's her look, and we can put it up on camera, Camille, later. But here's the look. I mean, you can't see the underwear, but apparently Rosa Parks' face was on her underwear, girl.
We don't
People
need
are so
that.
upset. It's like an intricate pattern. So there's a lot of people that are upset about that. Now, this is according to, I didn't see Rosa Parks' face nowhere. I didn't even see her on the red carpet. I'm not saying that that's what she did, but it is being reported that that was the situation, and her look was designed by Louis Vuitton. So Pharrell, hello, what you gotta say about this? Did you know about this? Causing
There was
quite
also, I have to say, there was some,
yeah,
some people who felt that there were not enough Black designers who were,
invited.
who
There
were
were some that
invited.
weren't invited. People were upset about
Sergio Hudson had about 16 looks that were on the red carpet. There was a
people that he
gorgeous dress.
dressed, right?
Yeah, he dressed about 16 different people that were on the
Yeah.
carpet. There was a French gentleman who was from one of the major brands who dressed one or two people. Hanifa had a gorgeous dress on one of the actresses. It was absolutely beautiful. And that's a Black designer. But people were saying that, there are all these other Black designers in addition to Sergio who could have been turned to. And a lot of people were turning to the Louis Vuittons and the European designers. So that was a sense. By the way, Kamala Harris, I think we mentioned that earlier,
Yeah, we did.
also
We talked
did.
about Kamala.
She and
Um,
Reverend were there. We got to figure out how to get there, girl. I think we got to put that on our bucket list.
I know, I know. But yeah, so that's the Met Gala. We want to, what with the little time we have left, we do want to talk about the Tony Award nominations that came out. Denzel Washington, in Othello on Broadway with Jake Gyllenhaal. They're like that is one of the highest grossing, if not the highest grossing Broadway play ever. It's made so much money. Candy Burris and her husband are producers on that. It's doing really well. Those tickets are way too expensive, like $800 or something like that. Like, it's crazy. It's hard to get tickets. And they're very expensive, but they were not nominated for one thing. Not one thing, girl. But our girl, Audra McDonald, was nominated, and now she is the most nominated actress in Broadway history. She is in a reimagining of Gypsy with an all black cast, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't seen it, but I hear it is incredible. So we're happy for her that she was nominated. You know, we got a long way to go when it comes to being recognized at these award shows. But listen, Audra McDonald, hats off to you, making history with this year's nominations. I'm sure there were some other folks that were nominated. But I'm a little mad about Denzel. I haven't seen that play yet, and I won't be seeing it for $800. Hopefully somebody will give me a little ticket.
Call us, please.
We'll take some free tickets and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. How about that? Wow.
I know.
I always feel like the award nominations, you know, like we went and finally saw Sinners, which I thought was fantastic.
Don't tell me about it. I haven't seen it.
I won't tell you anything about it. No spoilers, but people are already talking it up as, you know, an Oscar is going to be a big Oscar nomination. I always am just like, trust but verify, because a lot of the time there was a lot of skepticism going into Sinners, and people were hating on the deal that our good brother made. That Ryan Coogler made, even though he's Black Panther made like $2 billion worldwide. So he's a bankable artist, and he's a bankable artist with the same cast members that he is using in this film. And so he's a known quantity, but he signed this incredible deal that in 2050 will revert the copyright to himself, which is a huge monumental deal for a Black filmmaker to be able to own the rights, the screen rights.
Not uncommon. And he's
white artists have done it.
No, white artists, and he's upset that so many people are making a big deal about it and asking why a director's so young, you know, because I'm like, why a Black director is what they're really trying to ask.
That's what they mean, because white artists have done it and no one says anything.
But they're saying that they have a bigger body of work, a lot. But he
has a $2 billion film.
No, what they're saying, what people are saying, and I don't agree with them, is they're saying somebody like a Quentin Tarantino who got a deal like this has made a lot of movies. It's not Ryan's fault that he's so young, but so phenomenal as a director that, think about it, he hasn't made that many movies, but
and all of them have been hit.
Movie that he's made has been has made such a mark in the industry. I mean, start with Fruitvale Station. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then to the Creed series, and then Black Panther, and now
Sinners. Money. He's making money. So why should he have to make money? And there's a whole history that this film actually alludes to of Black people making deals that white people benefited from financially, and they didn't. There's so many Black artists, particularly in the music industry, who made millions of dollars for record labels, and they themselves have not become multimillionaires and have died, in some cases broke, particularly in the early days of rock and roll and jazz and the blues. So good for him. I hope he makes all the money, and I hope he becomes a quadrillionaire.
I do too. I can't wait to see Sinners. I'm going to go see it this weekend. Mother's Day, me and my mom and my sister are going to go do that. We don't like to go out to eat on Mother's Day because it's so crazy.
So crazy.
So we go the day before and celebrate. Now I know you have 3 beautiful children. What will you be doing for Mother's Day weekend?
I do not know. So I don't.
Oh, is it a surprise?
Yeah, I generally do not apprise myself of whatever the planning will be. I know that I generally get a fairy tale creature. I have many, you all know that I have many of these little monsters in my home. A lot of them are here, right? This is PJ Funny Bunny. Say hi, PJ Funny Bunny. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then here, let me show you one of my other guys here.
You need a room for this.
I know. They need their own. They actually need their own house. This is Blue Moo. So he and PJ Funny Bunny are my latest haul.
Your dog doesn't get a hold of those things?
You know what? Interestingly enough, if Turbo was still alive, the late Turbo Reed would have ripped these animals to shreds. But Nala is indifferent to stuffed animals. Now, Escobar, her cousin, who has been staying here for a while, he's not indifferent to stuffed animals, but he's been very respectful of my fairy tale creatures. He is not bothered, not on one of them. So interestingly enough, I think she has trained Escobar, hey, stay away from mama things because you don't want that smoke. I don't even put them up high. But let me tell you, don't put a comb down. Your combs, your brush, my poor hair makeup team, They come in and find gnarled up combs, gnarled up brushes. I keep telling them, don't leave that stuff
Why
low.
are they
Nala
doing
will eat
that?
glasses. You put your glasses low, she gonna eat them. She likes
Lord,
plastics.
Lord,
Don't
Lord,
leave your
Lord.
glasses. I'm just saying she will eat them.
So you don't know what the family has planned for Mother's Day.
No. But I know I'll be a mother on that day and probably get some flowers and some food.
And what you want to eat, right?
And it'll be
Breakfast
what I
in
want. And now
bed.
it's complicated because now that I'm a vegetarian, it just is harder to feed me because I don't know what to eat. So they're gonna have to be creative.
Ha, it's not that hard. Tell them to call me for some recipes.
I'll tell you. Well, your recipes are too complicated. Only
No, they're
Wanjira can do
not.
those. Maybe Wanji will come in. You know, the only person who can cook these insane complicated recipes, the daughter can do it, and Wanji. So well, maybe
Insane
Wanji.
complicated. This from someone who wants a bean burrito every day.
It's not that I want it. It's just it's easy.
You're so cute. It's not that I want it.
It's just easy. It's there. It's available. It takes 10 minutes to make. I mean, what's the hate? It's a bean burrito.
Listen, vegan meals are no more complicated than other meals. You just don't want to cook at all. Anything beyond putting beans on a tortilla, sprinkling some things on it, wrapping it up, and ready to go.
Eat it. Nom.
No guac,
Nom,
no
nom,
sour
nom.
cream. Like, I'm already sleepy. I'm like, I'm so bored with your food. Come on.
Maybe you should get some feed eats. You can go all the way to sleep.
Listen, Joanne, I'm so excited. I know you are too, to have our next guest today. Her name is Edwina Finley. And Edwina has that face where if you see her out and about, you're going to be like, hey, girl, because you're going to feel like you know her, even if you don't, because you've seen her in so many of your favorite TV shows, movies over the years. She is an incredible actress. And now she is starring in The Residence as one of our favorite characters.
Yes.
This is like breakout star, girl. Like this, everybody is talking about Sheila on The Residence. So welcome to Read This, Read That, Edwina Finley. How are you?
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, Joyanne and Jackie. Oh, and thank you for your comments. I feel honored to be here.
No, it's great to have you. I mean, I've loved that. You know, I've followed your career over the years, and I celebrate every time because not only does she have a face that you recognize, but her energy, Joyanne, is so beautiful. She has such a beautiful spirit, and we're going to talk about manifestation in a while because I need some of that. She has a nonprofit that focuses on that. But let's talk about The Residence. We got to talk about it. And there is something that I want to ask you about that is going to blow Joyanne's mind. If she does, she knows so many things. I don't know if she knows this, but I want to talk about this first. And that is you have a special connection to the White House with your family history. Let's talk about, look at, I know, let's talk about that.
Do tell.
So my grandmother worked at the White House. So my growing up, I grew up in Washington, D.C. I was born there. And literally, I mean, our house, like my grandparents' house, which was the family house in Brooklyn, D.C., was filled with White House paraphernalia, with Christmas cards, greeting cards, Christmas ornaments, coins from the White House, and then my grandparents with all the different presidents. So it was always something that had a lot of pride for us. So when I read the book, The Residence, I just immediately fell in love with it because it felt like my home. It felt like my upbringing, you know. And then as a high school student, I would just catch the bus every day to school and we'd be waiting right in front of the White House, you know, because when you're from DC, it's like the culture is not White House, right? Like that's a 2-mile radius of the White House and the monuments. We know that there's a much bigger Washington, right? But I've always felt very passionately about that part being displayed on screen. What does that look like if the real people of Washington, if the real stories of DC are able to come to the forefront? And so I started creating a show called Chocolate City that was all about Black Washington, Black DC, the Black politicians, you know, all of that. And in the midst of that, I get this script for The Residence and I'm blown away because here's this one character that I just feel like, oh yes, 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 her, Sheila, yes. I put her right in Southeast. I felt like I just saw a whole history for her and, a whole location and locale and growing up and all of that. And I felt like, what is that juxtapositioning of
Yeah.
her in the White House? What does that look like? And that just felt really juicy for me. And I really wanted to play that.
Oh, okay. We got to get into the character real quick because your character is amazing. Like literally a fan favorite and a favorite of mine as well. But I asked a friend that worked in the White House a couple of times, how accurate the actual physical. Because one of my favorite things about the residents is when they do those graphics where they like show you and they screen through and scan through the White House. I've been to parts of the White House, but those who really don't know what it looks like inside. And this has been one of my questions I've been asking folks. How accurate is that?
Oh my gosh. They literally created the White House to scale. So every drape, every fireplace, every bust, I mean, like the inching and the centimeters were exact. Everything, every doorpost was exact. And so the people that came onto the set that have been in the White House felt like they were there, right? It was not a replica or it was exact. It was them recreating the White House in every room. Yeah, down to the wallpaper. Every part of it was
Wow.
exact.
Fabulous.
Hold on. Tell us about how you ended up with this role. Did your agent say, hey, I got something I want you to audition for? Did you hear about it and say, no, y'all gonna put me in this? Like, how did it come together?
So, I mean, you brought up earlier about manifestation, right?
Yeah.
So there was one April Fool's 2022. And I was like, well, what should I post? What should we post, for April Fool's Day? And I was talking, with the woman that was helping me with social media at the time. And somehow we came up with putting my face on a Shondaland poster and announcing my new role in this Shondaland show. And actually, you know what? I think what inspired us was that there was a new character on Bridgerton named Edwina.
Mm.
Edwina. And so, that's perfect. That's perfect. And so we like Photoshopped my picture into this Shondaland poster, and I put out this announcement. I thought it was hilarious. Okay, I thought it was funny. Happy April Fool's Day. But the people that poured in, all the comments were like, "Look at God, praise God, won't He do it? This is amazing. This is so exciting." And it was just something about they just knew that was happening,
Right.
and that elevated my faith. Like, could that be possible? Could this be possible? And because it didn't say in the post, Happy April Fool, I try to allude to it, but they received it with such joy and with such confidence. And I said, you know what, God, I want to see how capable you are to do something like that. And let me tell you, maybe 5 months later, maybe about 5 or 6 months later, out of the blue. And in fact, I was working on a whole nother show, a very different type of character. And out of the blue, I get this script and it's for Shondaland and it's Netflix. I'm like, what? No. And then it's in DC and then it's Sheila. I said, okay, stop the presses, stop everything, and it was, and during that time, it took a lot of negotiation because I was in contract with another, completely different show. And so it was really a thing of like, but both my manager and I felt like, no, you are destined to play this role. So whatever we have to do, we got to make sure that you are on that set when the cameras start rolling.
Well, talk about her because she is amazing. And I love the backstory of the dream, and I think for a lot of people, and I'm assuming if you grew up in this city, there are a lot of people who have that dream of working in the White House, right? It's such a proud tradition. I can remember meeting the chief usher to the White House when Obama was president. We went for this, they do the White House Christmas thing for media. And the chief usher, first of all, her last name was Reed. So I was like, hey, cousin. And
I know what you're talking about. Right.
Right. And she's Jamaican origin. And this was the year that I took my Jamaican godmother. So when I tell you they bonded, She took us to go down because my godmother's older. So she was like, no, 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 I got you. She put us in the good elevator, the elevator that the Obamas use. She's like, the Obamas were just in here. You guys can go right behind them. I was like, ah, we went down the elevator. She was treating us like we were family. And it was like, we were talking about, just her, the pride she had and that the staff had in working there, and how really it's like our ancestors' wildest dreams, because you are a core part of that White House family. Talk a little bit about your character and her dreams of working in the White House.
Oh my goodness. Well, because I did have that history of my grandmother working there, and because I also read in the book, The Residents, how a lot of the hires are generational, right? A
Mhm.
lot of the people that work there, their parents worked there or their grandparents worked there, or it somehow came through someone, right? It's not just on Indeed, like, hey, do you want to work at the White House? And so I just started developing this backstory for her, especially because Sheila has all these flaws, right? And so it's like, how did you get that job, girl?
But
How
are
did
they
you
flaws, or is she just bringing the fun? I'm just saying. Go on.
know? But so I just kind of created this backstory, like her grandmother vouched for her, that she was upstanding, that everyone loved her, and then she said, I have a granddaughter, she's a little rough around the edges, but if you just give her a chance, and so this idea of like going from the Waffle House to the White House, right, and
Yeah.
like juxtapositioning that type of work ethic and hard work with this dream, and then getting there, which I think many people I think can relate to. When you get into your dream, then you also have to sustain it, right? And like, what does it look like to sustain your dream, not just to achieve it? And that becomes compromise, right? It becomes difficult. But there's this really intense scene that she has with AB Winter, played by the wonderful Giancarlo Esposito, where he says, stop singing, stop dancing, stop
Mhm.
flirting with Hugh Jackman, you're not an effing jester. And when he says those words, Joyanne, like, every part in me goes back all the generations to
Mm.
the slaves building the White House,
Mhm.
to our soil, our blood, sweat, and tears being in the very foundation of the White House, right? To now. And it's like the level of that javelin just turning in
Mhm.
Sheila's heart when he says those words. It's not just for now, it's for all the
Yeah.
ancestors before me, right? And
Mm.
so it I feel like one thing I love about The Residents is that, and especially with my character, there's levels, right? There's layers, there's colors, there's things that are deeper than, it's just funny, right? It is funny, but then there's also like, but who are you and what's actually
Mhm.
happening? And that goes back, to your point, it goes back to a lot of the history and legacy of Blacks in the White House.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you brought up Giancarlo, and I just want to talk about. I haven't had a chance to ask anyone about this, and I haven't read anything about it. But he stepped in. Andre Brower was supposed to play that role, and like, how
Who did
far?
play that role?
That's what I was going to ask. How,
Mm.
like, can you talk a little bit about that situation? And it's so tragic that, I didn't know that he had stepped foot on the set.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
he had filmed half the show already with
Wow.
Andre.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So losing him was just, I mean, devastating. It was absolutely devastating. And in fact, the scene that I was just bringing up, I did it with Andre first.
Wow.
And
Wow.
so, there were so many things that we shared with Andre. And I know Andre and I had become very close throughout the process. So we filmed all the way through episode 4 with Andre. And then we had the strike. And the
Mhm.
strike came right in the middle. And so we just finally, by the end of that year, got word that we were coming back. And we were all so excited. And I had even texted Andre, like, we were just all so happy to come back now after the strikes. And he didn't make it.
Wow.
Wow.
Past maybe just about a month before we started shooting again. And there was definitely a whole period where we didn't know what was going to happen. Uh,
Yeah.
and then ultimately they decided to bring Giancarlo in, and so we reshot the
Wow.
whole half of the show all over again.
Wow.
That had to
with
be challenging. I saw at the end that the whole thing was dedicated to Andre Braugher, and I thought that was, of course,
Mhm.
lovely.
he was such a generous soul, centered, generous actor, so loving and warm and kind and so affirming.
Yeah,
Like when you get to, as an actor, when you get to work with those veterans, right? Like Giancarlo, like Andre, and when
yeah,
you get to have scenes like that are toe to toe with them, and for them afterward to be like, okay, who are you? Who are you, young blood? You know, who are you? That's what we doing today. Yeah, that's what we gonna do, right? And it's like just so much love, and it feels like the baton is being passed. Like it's,
yeah,
as actors, just like any other professional, it's generational, right? And
yeah,
so there's people that we look up to and idolize for years, whether it's on stage or whether it's in movies or whether it's TV. And I felt that way about both Giancarlo and Andre. So, losing Andre was an absolute devastation for all of us,
yeah,
And it felt good though that Giancarlo and Andre were good friends.
yeah,
Mhm.
And I think that's a part of why they invited Giancarlo to come in too. It was almost like an extension of Andre's legacy
Yeah.
for Giancarlo to step into those shoes and to carry us the full way.
yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
I have to say, and just listening to you talk about it, to me, there's also something really special about Shondaland. Like, I feel like all of her cast, first of all, she casts all of them have the best cast. Like, you're talking about the cream of the crop of actors, black actors, non-black actors, you name it. It's just such a great. She pulls together these amazing sort of magical teams. But what's it like, for all the actors out there who all want to be in Shondaland projects? Let's just be clear. Everybody wants to work with her. What's it like working on a Shondaland show?
It really is. It really is a dream. I'm going to be honest, because the writing is so fantastic, right?
Mhm.
So you can know, like, there's certain guidelines that you can always rely on with Shonda and her
Yeah.
projects, right? The writing is fantastic. The imagination of the world and the characters and where they're going and who they are, where they're from, all of that came into play. She has a no a-hole policy, if maybe you've heard. She's pretty
Mhm.
vocal about that. So literally, she's only bringing together not only great actors, but also great people.
Yeah.
So the
Mhm.
fact that me and all of my residents, castmates are still on a group text, I hate group text. I don't do group text with my family. I love our group text. It's like, and we started it from when we first began, and we are still texting each other. We're still going to dinner. We're still hanging out. We feel like family, and that's one thing that Shonda does. And
Mhm.
then she also expects excellence. And that's one thing that's great too, because everybody's rising to their A game, right? Like
Mhm.
everybody knows the assignment and why we're here to make a great show, and for it to be excellent. And so to have that type of energy around you all the time, that also though feels loving and feels warm and feels kind, that is the culture of Shondaland. And it's really been an honor to work with them.
Yeah, you brought up the writing. Let's talk about it. Man, I just feel like this show, but I feel like all Shonda's shows, but this one especially just gives Black women such agency. Like Uzo's character, I mean, but each one of, the characters, the Black women characters are just so phenomenal. I
Mm.
love the way that unapologetically Uzo is just the best detective in the world. And it's just like
Period.
I'm gonna sit and look at you. What are all these men doing here? That's a problem. Let's go and do this. No, that's not what we're gonna do. I just love, you know what I mean? The
Yeah.
confidence that she gives this woman and gives her permission to be quirky, right? To be this Black woman that's a birder, that's
Right. What bird
unapologetically
do you know? Right.
right. Right.
You don't know no birds. But she is that, and also African American, also a woman. Absolutely. I'm so glad that you brought that up, Jackie, because I think that that's another part that goes along with Shondaland is thinking out of the box as
Yes.
far as race or socioeconomics or culture, right? And like this idea on the page, it was not clear what race Cordelia Cup was. You know,
Right.
if you had not seen Uzo, you may have assumed that this is a white woman.
Right.
And I love that because it's not often where you get an experience of quote unquote colorblind casting.
Yeah.
And they choose the actors based on their fit for the role, as opposed to, are they black, are they not black, are they 40, are they 30, are they 25, you know, like, and I love that. I love that Uzo's playing that role. I love that they built in that type of quirkiness and, you know, and humor, and it's not just straight lace. It's not all the things that you might expect stereotypically for a Black woman to do, right? And really pushing the envelope as far as who we can be, right? Or who you think we can be.
Yeah. And what I do love also about Shondaland is she creates these worlds that you want to live in, even if, you know, you go back to Bridgerton. Nobody want to live back that time. That's a terrible time. Like, people didn't have like showers, you know, toothpaste. Like, it's a terrible time to be alive.
Hot water.
But hot water, but she makes it like, I would love to live in that world, because it's this world in which, as you said, being Black is never a detriment to you. You're never limited in power, in majesty, in opportunity because of race. You're just a different character, which is like the idyllic way to be. And in this show, not only is the chief usher Black, but the person who would be the next in line also Black and a woman. Like, it's like there's all of this like power that's assigned to Black people without any really explanation of it. They don't go into why she's the greatest detective,
and you know,
or why.
That was a part of what gave me joy too, because I mean, I didn't mention, but you know, you asked me how I got the role. So I first, you know, got the script, auditioned for it, and then a few weeks later they invited me for a meeting, and I sat down with the Shondaland team. There were probably 5 different people there. And I started sharing with them that culture of Washington and the Black culture of Washington and what that has been for so many years and how it's never reflected on screen. And we had those conversations as far as race and specifically African Americans and the contributions that we have made in the White House. And so I was just so over the moon when I saw exactly that the chief usher is Black, that the junior usher is Black, you know, that the lead actor is Black, right? Like,
and sis, you know, when you really go to the White House, it's a very Black staff. Like, that's actually legit.
Yeah.
And even in the book, it even talks about that, like, because there's a lot of interviews with real people who have worked in the White House, some of them for generations. And African Americans are represented because African Americans are represented in DC. That's right. You know, but a lot of times we just don't see it all the time, you know, on screen. And so I just thought that they made so many beautiful choices with this show. And I'm so glad that it translated to you all, for us to be able to have this conversation and break all these things down.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. And let's talk about the president of the United States being a gay man married to, I mean, come on.
And they don't even explain it. They're just like, he's a gay man.
Explain it.
They don't explain it. They're just like, you're just going to accept that this is true. You have the gay couple that's the first family, and that's it. and the crazy mother-in-law.
Right.
The crazy drunk mother-in-law who's your bestie.
Jane Curtin. I mean, okay, Edwina, we got to ask. I know you probably can't say anything, but you might. Season 2.
Woo!
Come on. I'm like already trying to figure it out, because I'm trying to figure out, why did Cordelia have to, on her way out of town, stop back at the White House to visit with the mother-in-law? Like, I didn't get that. She was like, I got to make one stop. And she, girl, I've seen this thing so many times. I keep rewatching.
You might have some binoculars over there. You like
and she not lying. She has seen it 473 times.
Girl, I watch it start again. I finish, I'll start again.
Start it again.
I love this show. But I'm like, why? So, you know, I'll save all my inside questions. But I'm like, I see that as a season. It's almost like she knows the mother-in-law is going to be the next murder. I'm like, murder victim. I'm like, how is there a season 2? There has to be a season 2 with this cast. It has to be a murder in the White House. Has to be.
Only murders in this building.
This house. They did it with only murders in the building. Only murders in this house.
From your lips to God's ears.
Listen.
Come on.
We are praying for it. Yes.
Yeah. We would love it. I love that you all are on a keeping. I love when cast You know, you know how fans are. You love it when look, they're friends. I love when when castmates are friends, and I love that you all genuinely have a great relationship beyond this project. So
We
working
do.
together again, you know, just let us know.
Right.
You
Right.
know,
Get the band back together.
We would all love to work together again. I mean,
what
we
a
love being
cast!
in each
Let's
other's
manifest it. We were talking about manifesting. Let's manifest it right now.
that
Season
out
two.
in
Season
Jesus'
Go.
name,
Put
amen.
your
Yeah.
hands on the screen, everybody. Put your
I
hands on
know.
the screen.
Come on now, let's
We're
do
gonna
it.
manifest a season 2 of The Residence. Hallelujah! In the name of Jesus.
I know. Now, Edwina, you actually have a book and a nonprofit that focuses on manifestation. Let's talk about that because you really, this is like your work aside from acting.
Yeah, aside from acting. So I have a book that's being released that's available for pre-order right now called The World is Waiting for You. Embrace your calling and manifest the God dream that's over your life. And so throughout my life, it's been very prophetic. So I receive a lot of prophecies. I received prophecies about working with Tyler Perry, about filming in Georgia, about working with Oprah. I received a prophecy to name my baby London because God's going to open a door for you in London. That baby was going to be named Brooklyn because that's where me and my husband met. We got married. But God said, name her London. And sure enough, when London was 4 months old, I got a call to start filming, to move my entire family to London. And so I began to realize over the course of years, of things being prophesied and then manifesting, that there actually is that there's a system, right? That there's a very spiritual, like in the foundation of our lives, that there is a very spiritual story that's been written for us. And part of that is us connecting with that story in order to manifest that in the world. So the world is waiting for you. And it's kind of a double entendre. In one way, it's saying, come out. Let us pull you out, your gifts, your talents, your abilities, your superpower. A lot of times the curse of comparison, looking to the right or to the left, or feeling like we're the least of the least, that we don't really have anything to contribute. But I feel like God is saying to all of us, no, who you are is special. You are loved. You are valuable. And the world has need of you. In all of your flaws and all of your glory, the world has need of the special gift that you have. And then the other side of that is that literally the world is open to you, right? That as we make those steps, as we take those steps of manifesting what I call the God dream, which is God's vision for your life, when you actually start to make those steps, you'll realize that this place that I've been living was too small. Right. There's a whole world that is open to me for me to express and me to manifest the fullness of what I've been called to. And so my hope through this book is that people will really have the confidence and the faith to step out in ways that maybe they never have before, and to express the fullness of what they have inside that perhaps was hidden away, that perhaps was tucked away. But now's the season and now's the time to open up and allow the world to experience all of what you have inside.
Amen.
I love that. Okay.
That's a
Okay, with a
sermon.
word. Edwina showing up with a
Okay,
word.
I feel like we should take up a collection. Like, should we cast some?
Joyanne, look, I was on that call. I was on that Harris call. I know you know how to take it up.
Listen, we
pass
needed
that
to get a
around.
little coin for our good sister. Look, and next time
I was
we
on
have a
the
baby, we gonna
44,000.
get her.
I know.
And then we were so quick to get our little I was in that 40,000. People who weren't even on the call and got the little I was in the 40,000 because they don't want to ever not be counted in history. Be like, no, let me go ahead and put this on. I made it onto that call. Like literally, it was like by hook or by crook, because when I tell you it was hard to get on, it was so packed.
I know. It took me forever to get on, and I was texting everybody.
Me
I was like,
too.
you gotta
Wow.
I can't get on. I can't get on. We tried for hours.
What?
Literally. Yeah.
Ma'am,
Oh, it was a whole thing.
yeah.
Finally was like, oh my God, I got in. Oh, what link did you use? But that's the power of Black women.
It's the Black power. And also, I think to your point that you just made, this, Zoom limits your Zoom to like 100 people. And on a good night, Joe Taker will have like 3,000 people on a really good night, 4,000 people, maybe 400 people. It never has been that many. She just through the power, again, she manifested it. She knew who to call at Zoom, and literally the person who is in charge of, the ability to expand the size of your Zoom is a woman of color. And a woman of color who I believe is of Asian American extraction. And so felt an affinity to the cause and literally allowed that to happen. Like literally, this has never happened before, that Zoom has just let you, without buying a whole new package, expand to 40,000 people, plus the other 10, 20,000 people on YouTube. That was a miracle. It literally was.
It was, yeah, because we were shut out. And then it was like an announcement, like, they're opening it up. They're opening it up. We're like, really? They're opening it up. Open up. But see, isn't that like, that's such a reflection of manifestation too? It's like God will place the exact person,
that's right,
the exact position that you need at the exact time that you need them to open the door for you to do what you've been called to do.
That's right.
I love that. I love that. Okay, so where can we pre-order? EdwinaFinley.com?
Yes, you can go to edwinafinley.com/book. But it's on all the websites, Amazon, Target, Barnes and Noble. You can get it in your hands. It's a wonderful ride. There's some exciting announcements that are coming that I can't share right now. Some major, big announcements connected with the book and who's. There's things happening.
We love it.
Almost said it. We love it. Well,
I know we almost got a spoiler, but it's okay. We were going to get a
spoiler. I'm like, but thank you for your support, and I really do believe, especially for our community, I believe that it's going to bless a lot of people.
Amen.
Yeah,
really help them to discover first and manifest the calling and big dream that's over their life.
Yeah. Well, be sure to pre-order this book. Follow this sis with all that she does. She has such a beautiful spirit, and she's extremely talented on top of all of that. So go to edwinafinley.com. You said /book.
/book. And it has all the links.
Order the book. And listen, join me in my marathon of watching The Residents over on Netflix. Because every time I watch it, I see something different. I love this show so much. Edwina, thank you so much for joining us here on Read This, Read That. And please, it's open and endless, girl. Come back anytime.
And you are now officially a cousin, meaning you can come back unannounced.
Unannounced.
Show up.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, ladies, so much. I love both of you. I'm such huge fans of both of your work, and I'm honored to have shared this space with you today. Thank you. And thank you for loving
big fans of yours. We in your cheering section, good sis. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, she's so brilliant.
Oh, she love her
today. I feel like I got a word.
Girl, I'm telling her energy, her spirit, it's just, she is such a beautiful person.
And has a beautiful voice. I have to say, her voice is actually very she should do the Calm app, because I think actually if she was to say a Calm app story, it would help me sleep. She has a great voice.
She does, girl. This cat, I think the cat is coming out.
Did the cat reappear? Oh gosh.
No, I've got a crate
invasion taking place at Dr. Doolittle's house.
I'm here like
you just hear her. She gonna sneak up on you. You're not gonna. You will turn around.
I have a crate right here for her to crawl. If she comes out of this cabinet, the only place she can go is into the crate.
She go right in the crate.
Food, litter box, water. Just come on through. Come on, girl. Come on. I have this panel that I got
strategery.
Yes, girl. Come on home. Go back to your kittens.
Go back to your kids.
Deadbeat mom.
Take care of your kids.
Take a break.
Deadbeat running from the kids. She's like, make them leave me alone.
Nah, baby, let's go. But anyway, you guys, thanks for joining us. I love Edwina Finley so much. Every time I watch The Residents, I'm just blown away. But she has an amazing body of work, stage, TV, big screen, so many roles. She's phenomenal in everything. Yeah. Well, that does it for this episode of Read This, Read That, you guys. Thank you for joining us. Hopefully it was as fun for you as it was for us.
Yeah, it was
Be
fun
sure
for
to
us.
follow us on YouTube, where you can like, subscribe, comment, tell a friend. So many great things there.
Piss them off.
Tell your enemies.
Tell your enemies.
Tell your exes. Tell all your exes to watch. Have an ex gathering.
Have an ex gathering. Amen, 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 amen. Tell an ex. So tell them first.
Tell them exes first. And be sure to follow this young lady here. I don't know if we're on the right side. Is this correct, Camille? I hope
correct,
so.
Camille?
This is correct. It
might you're both wrong.
Oh, wait. Am I right now?
Jackie's right now. There you go. That's it.
Oh my God, this is so weird.
So weird. It's the opposite.
Fix it, Jesus. We need to manifest this. Look, this is where I'm beginning with manifestation.
Listen, we're gonna manifest the screen to make it work right. How about that?
You need to follow joyannereed.com so you can follow all the things that this woman is doing on this crazy schedule that she has invented for herself. Self-inflicted busyness, because I gave her a schedule.
She did. She
would give her peace in her life, and she has chosen to be everywhere, everything, everywhere, all at once.
I've chosen violence.
She has chosen violence in her
own life. Violence.
But at least she has hot feet. So
I have hot feet. And look, you know what? I think I'm gonna be all right. And also, I know I'm gonna be all right because I am currently following Jackie Reed on all the Jackie Reed things, not just the Jackie Reed Experience, which is the newest Jackie Reed thing. The JackieReedExperience.com is just fabulous. And also Jackie Reed Substack. Vegan Sexy Cool is now a Substack. So you can get all of your tips for being vegan, act sexy, and cool all at the same time on the Jackie Reed Vegan Sexy Cool Substack. Also follow Vegan Sexy Cool and Jackie Reed on Instagram and all the things, all the places you need all your Jackie stuff. And she, unlike me, is not overscheduled. So she has actual time to write a thorough piece that will actually help you make your life better.
Well, people are like, wait a minute. Is she going to write something today? I'm like, listen, I listen to my anxiety. I'm like, wait, what? Are we not writing today? Okay, we're not writing today, y'all. I'm sorry.
She said, I write when I'm ready. But see, look, I pressure myself to write every day, but I sometimes do miss it. And if I miss it, then I'll feel incredibly guilty and then write an even longer piece the next day.
I feel no guilt. I'm like, listen.
You're a wiser woman than me, my friend. But also, by the way, I will throw one more last thing in before we let you go.
Please.
If you're going to be in New Orleans, please join me. Please just go on stateoftheppl.com. Please sign up. Come see me in NOLA. Hopefully we want to see some Read This, Read That fans. If you are a listener of Read This, Read That, and you see me in New Orleans, let me know that
just
you are
holler
a
out
Read This,
hot
Read
feet.
That. Just yell hot feet, and I'll look for you. Hot feet. Hot feet. Hot feet. Hot feet. Hot feet. And then I'll know it's you.
All right, you guys. I know Joyanne has a million things to do, so we're gonna wrap it up from here. I'm gonna go take care of my kittens.
Go take care of your kittens, Dr. Doolittle. Thank you all for listening and watching, and we'll see you next week. Cheers.
Bye. Cheers.
Bye.
Pot liquor. Bye.
Pot liquor. All right.